it's Presley at ActOutGames.com here, and today I'm going to be talking about how to write fanfiction. Specifically today, I'm going to be talking about the hero's journey. Okay, so this series is just going to be talking about how to write fanfiction. I love to write fanfiction, and I'm currently just learning how to do it better. I am writing my first official published fanfiction. When it's out, I'll tell you when it's out, but it's called Hogwands, and I may put up like a Google document page for you to look at on how it's going so far, so you can have kind of a pre-release look of Hogwands and give me advice. But I'm just really loving writing fanfiction. I'm learning how to do it better. I'm going to do so many episodes on these. I'm going to be doing like location, scenery, monsters, animals, pets, characters. Characters are going to be a big one. But just to kind of understand everything, you need to know about the hero's journey. The hero's journey is also called the monomyth, and it's like the main base for a lot of stories. The examples I'm going to be using today is warriors, familiars, Harry Potter, and Percy Jackson, as you can see, because I'm wearing a Percy Jackson shirt. 4 good examples, and I'm pretty sure most of the people that are watching this video have read at least one of those. If you read up a little bit on Hero's Journey, you'll see that a lot of people don't really like it and don't think it's a good base for a story, but I really love it, and it's used for a lot of the books that I really love, so I'm going to be using it for Hogwands. The high level of the hero or heroine's journey is the hero or heroine starts in the normal world. In my case, it's the heroine. So she starts in the normal world, and then she gets a call to action, so she has to go in this magical world. Mine is of Hogwands. And at first she kind of denies and she doesn't want to go, but eventually something really tragic happens, like one of her best friends gets kidnapped or taken away to that magical world, so she has to go into that magic world and save her. And on their way to go save them or do whatever, like maybe they have to find this secret amulet thing or whatever their goal is, they have a lot of trials and bumps and hard and easy things going along the way. And maybe my favorite part of the hero's journey is like people are just reading it and getting boring and like, oh, they're totally gonna do this, and then it drops dramatically and something very bad happens, like maybe one of the helpers disappears and they have to go find them, which sidetracks them from the main quest and stuff. So after all this stuff happens, then they win a prize, and they have to decide if they want to take that prize back to the normal world and live a normal life, or if they want to stay in the magical world. So that's basically deciding if you want to write a sequel or not. That's the high level. There's a lot of details I'll be talking about a little bit, and maybe even if we can't cover all those details in this one episode, we'll make little episodes about all of the like little parts of the hero's journey that are hard to understand. So let's start with living in the normal world. Percy Jackson was living in his apartment with his mom and Smelly Gabe. If you don't know who Smelly Gabe is, I beg you to read the Percy Jackson series, as well as all the series I've mentioned. Very good series. Aldwin, who is the main character of the Familiars, was just an alley cat. I mean, he's an alley cat with a bounty on his head and stuff. He's just like a typical alley cat thing. Harry Potter was living with the Dursleys. He thought his parents died in a car crash. And then Firestar, Paw, whatever you call him, wherever you are in the books, started out as a little kitty pet. His name was Rusty. And they were just living a normal life until the dramatic change, magical world thingy, magical call to action of fabulousness, because I have to add the fabulousness. So Firestar, or Rusty's, heard there were these cats in the forest and wanted to explore, so we went and explored and got taken in as an apprentice. Firepaw, Aldwin went into this magical pet store where you get your familiars, and was called upon to be a familiar, even though he was just a simple normal alley cat. He was just trying to hide from a bounty hunter trying to kill him. And Harry Potter got Hogwarts letters. Percy got attacked in the museum by this crazy teacher, and so his mom took him to Camp Half-Blood. Next is the refusal. So the refusal is when the character doesn't want to go or somebody doesn't want them to go. So a few of the great examples is the Dursleys didn't want Harry Potter to go. They were ripping up and burning the Hogwarts letters. And Percy didn't understand what was going on. He didn't want to be a demigod. He didn't want to go to the summer camp. He didn't want to do whatever. He just wanted to stay in the normal world with his mom. So those are the great examples of the refusal. And then next, they have the tragedy that makes him have to go. So for Percy Jackson, his mom got kidnapped. Some sort of kidnapping thing by Hades has happened. So he has to go on the quest and save his mom. And it's actually not always a tragedy. In Harry Potter, Hagrid came and got Harry, and Harry was kind of confused as to what was going on, but I think he may have been secretly a little bit happy about leaving the Dursleys behind. The next step is accepting the quest and crossing the threshold. So for those of you who don't know what the threshold is, it's like a magical barrier. Like in Percy Jackson, it literally is a magical barrier. So he has to go through the magical barrier that only demigods or like fabulous thingies that are allowed into camp can go through. The Harry Potter barrier is platform 9 3/4 because it's a magical barrier that only the Hogwarts students can go through, because apparently only people who are capable of magic can go through. I don't know what's the dealio about not everyone being able to go through, but Percy Jackson actually crossed several barriers on his journey. He went into the camp, the safety of the camp, and out of the camp, out of the safety of the camp, into the dangerous world, and then across the river Styx into the underworld. Rusty had ventured into the forest and got chosen as an apprentice. That's kind of the magical barrier thingy he's crossed. The next step is the trial. So I'm not talking about the trials of Hercules over here, but that is a good example. But kind of trials, like in Percy Jackson, he had to fight Medusa, he had to deal with Ares a lot, he had to deal with the Lotus Hotel, he had to deal with Minotaur, he had to deal with a lot of things. He had to kill an Nemean lion with space food. He had to do a lot of things on this trials. And Rusty had to learn how to become a warrior, and he had to like deal with the big crossing into the Mother Mouth, which is this big prophecy fabulous thing, because pretty much I'm just going to tell you now, this isn't a step in the actual hero's journey, but pretty much every story I've read has a prophecy, has this big prophecy that these people need to fulfill. It's not particularly part of the hero's journey, but it's part of most. Like in Warriors, you go to this big Mother Mouth and you share tongues with StarClan. StarClan is like the underworld, kind of, where the souls stay and prophesize and stuff. Harry Potter has a huge prophecy going on throughout some of the books. It has like through five through the end of the book. You find out about that, but yeah, so they have like these huge prophecy thingies with the rooms and fabulous and all this stuff. The Familiar's prophecy, Falstaff saw these star thingies which prophesied that 3 young sorcerers will save the world. And they didn't particularly mean it was humans. Percy Jackson had this Oracle of Delphi who does oracle-y stuff and is like, this is the prophecy of everything. You must go fulfill this prophecy now. The next step is victory. They get to Olympus and they stop the gods from starting a war. Warriors didn't really have one. They save their loyals in the Familiars. In Harry Potter, they defeat Voldemort. After victory, you normally get a gift of some sort. Like, Percy Jackson got the gods to pay more attention to their demigods. I mean, at the end of the series, you get a gift. Fire Paw became Fire Star. Aldrin the Familiar got to live happily with his loyals, which is a pretty big gift for him because he was an alley cat. Pretty much all of the books, you get like some sort of gift and a victory. And the last part of the hero's journey is they decide if they want to go back to the normal world or stay in a magical world. Percy Jackson is kind of a cool example because he stays in the magical world, like going back to Camp Half-Blood, but he leaves the super magical world with Olympus and all this stuff. But he goes back to Camp Half-Blood. He refused the gift of becoming a god to go back to Camp Half-Blood, and hang out with Annabeth and Grover at Camp Half-Blood, but he still kind of got a gift of having that is instead of like an alternative of the big crazy gift thing. Firestar decided he wanted to stay in the Warriors world, not go back to become a kitty pet, and I doubt he would ever even consider that though. So because he has so much, well, not much fun but he likes to be in the Warriors world. Now, in the Warriors are trained to look down upon kitty pets, so he doesn't want to become a kitty cat pet. And Alduin decides he wants to stay with his loyals, and this is kind of deciding. You can either have one book where he does this huge magical fabulousness, and then he goes back to the human world, and you're not writing many other books. But in Harry Potter, he goes back to the Dursleys, because maybe J.K. Rowling was thinking about not writing another one, and then he goes back to Hogwarts, and then back to the Dursleys, and then back to Hogwarts, and back to the Dursleys. So it can happen. They can go back to the non-magical world, and then back into the magical world, and just go back and forth, kind of. But it's kind of like you're deciding. It would have to be something kind of major. Like the Hogwarts plot is pretty good to flex around coming back. But if Percy Jackson went back to the human world, if Alduin went back to the human world, or Firestar went back to the human world, it would be pretty hard for them to go back into the magical world. Well, with Firestar, it's not really a magical world, but it's a pretty cool world. So it would be a big problem having to get them all the way back in to the world that they were originally in if they left. So you're kind of deciding if you want to write another book, or if you just want to have that be it. So this is the hero's journey. There's a lot of details on what characters are involved, and what villains, and what places you go, but we're all saving that for different episodes on how to write fan fiction. And take a look, and next time you are reading your favorite book, or rereading your favorite book, in fact, or watching a movie, look and see, does this follow the hero's journey? Post in the comments below, like, all the hero's journey stuff that you haven't mentioned. And I bet a bunch of you hasn't realized that all of your favorite books and movies and stuff like that actually follow the hero's journey. So yeah, thank you for watching How to Write Fanfiction Episode 1. Post in the comments or give it a like if you would like this series to continue. And I will see you tomorrow.